Come from a place called Deer Park, Ballycumber in Offaly in Ireland. Very rural background. Child of the 60s, I suppose. A child of an Ireland very long gone, I'm very relieved to say. A nation still coming together with itself, thinking of European membership, etc., but a very poor nation. That knowledge that we really didn't have a lot of things, that would have influenced my whole thinking on equality, involvement, rights. In 2001, I became CEO of Irish Rural Link. And really that was the real beginning of my path to Europe. Irish Rural Link is part of a 17 organisational umbrella. These are organisations representing disability, housing, young people, old people, various minority causes. These organisations came together as an umbrella and they were recognised by government to be the voice of Irish civil society. And that's really important because at the end of the day, policymakers are vaguely interested. But unless they hear somebody saying it time and time again, they won't do anything because there are other priorities. So to me, bringing that right through the national and European policy-making prism is the only way to get legislation to support people who are not just a minority, they're 0.01% of a minority in Europe. So that's why so many organisations are set up. All politicians throughout Europe must remain connected to the people. And the only way you can do this, or at least one of the ways, is through civil society organisations and civil society in general. Politicians have to stay in touch with the people. In civil society, what it means to me is that it is the awkward voice in the corner. If we don't listen to the awkward voices in the corner, then we miss a whole range of people who are simply excluded and left out. My vision, to be blunt, is to make sure that the various policymakers in the EU, from the EU Commission to individual governments across Europe, understand the power and the necessity of all actors in civil society. Their need, as far as they're concerned, is that their voices are heard. That means the eradication of social injustice, inequality. That will frame the next 2.5 years. And in the context of the Europe that we now have, that means making sure that people in various situations are not left behind. For example, if we increase the defence budget in Europe, which we probably will, almost certainly, that we will not dumb down on people who need help. That the social welfare and the supports that we enjoy in Europe won't diminish as a result. We do have a massive population, something like 20% below the poverty line. We need to remember that and we need to do something about that. I want to also give the message very clearly that the EESC is not about remaining in the Brussels bubble, that it actually reaches out into the 27 member states. So those are the priorities in terms of bearing in mind the eradication of poverty and all that means. That means preserve equality, justice, social inclusion. I would say to young people, if it's your desire to change the world, then you will do it through your own organisation, if that organisation is working with others, and those others are working through the EESC. The EESC should be leading that change, and that's what I will try to do as president. And I hope through my presidency we will bring a situation where it's understood that civil society is actually essential into building the new Europe we're talking about. The new Europe has changed. It will be very different from the previous one.
I've known Séamus for almost 3 decades in a variety of different roles, always in a leadership role, making a significant sector-wide impact in wherever he works. So for over all of those decades, Séamus has consistently brought a focus on people and communities. He leads with integrity. He leads with never forgetting the whole purpose of all of our work. And he brings that into all of his work, whether it be local, whether it be national, and indeed in the last over 10, 12 years, in a European-wide level. He is the man for now, for this job, for the challenges that Europe and we all are facing now. And I wish him every success in that.
There are so many examples of the impact of Séamus's work, both nationally at Irish Rural Link and at a European level with the European Economic and Social Committee. And I think the depth and breadth of his leadership in areas like digital inclusion and health, rural transport, social inclusion, really help member groups to amplify their voices and have their concerns heard. I think now more than ever, Europe needs a European Economic and Social Committee leader who leads with purpose and with clarity and with vision. And I think it's really important that those leaders not only state the values that are required, but also live them and listen and connect. And I think Séamus Boland is that leader.
I really feel honoured and privileged to be elected president of the EESC, because for me this represents the pinnacle of my career. I've been involved in civil society for all of my career, and to be in this position where I can now bring to the highest level the ideas and needs of civil society is indeed an honour.